This is DJ Time Machine. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of Hyungbu and Nolbu. Hyungbu and Nolbu. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, surrounded by green mountains and wide fields, there lived two brothers. The older brother's name was Nolbu, and the younger brother's name was Hyungbu. Though they grew up under the same parents, their hearts were very different from each other. Nolbu was wealthy, but his greed knew no end. He was so stingy that whenever a neighbor came asking for help, he would lock his doors and turn them away. Hyungbu, on the other hand, had very little to his name, yet he never lost his warm smile. He shared what little food he had with hungry neighbors and lived kindly. People in the village often said, "Nolbu may have plenty of money, but his heart is small. Hyungbu may have nothing, but his heart is wide and full." One warm spring day, Hyungbu found a little bird in the yard of his humble thatched house. It was a swallow, fluttering its wings and crying in pain. When he looked closer, he saw that its leg was broken. Feeling sorry for the poor bird, Hyungbu gently took a piece of bamboo and some cloth and carefully fixed the swallow's injured leg. He brought it inside his house and fed it millet and water every day. Thanks to Hyungbu's loving care, the swallow slowly regained its strength. One morning, the swallow flapped its wings bravely and soared up into the sky. Hyungbu watched as it disappeared into the distance, quietly wishing for its health and happiness. Time passed and autumn came. The sky grew high and the wind turned cool. One day, a swallow landed on the eaves of Hyungbu's house. It was the very same swallow he had saved in the spring. The bird opened its small beak and dropped something. It was a shining gourd seed. Filled with surprise and gratitude, Hyungbu carefully planted the seed in a corner of his yard. Throughout the summer, the gourd vines soaked in sunlight and rain. By autumn, large plump gourds hung in clusters. They were so big that Hyungbu couldn't even hold one with both hands. Hyungbu took a knife and split one of the gourds open. At that very moment, a dazzling light shone out, and gold, silver, grains, and warm clothes poured forth. In an instant, Hyungbu's family rose from poverty to abundance. When Nolbu heard that his brother had become rich after helping a swallow, his heart filled with envy and jealousy. He thought, "If I do the same, I'll become rich too." So, hiding his greed behind a false smile, he caught a swallow and deliberately broke its leg. Then, pretending to be kind, he wrapped the leg with cloth and set it free, hoping the swallow would return with a gourd seed for him as well. Eventually, autumn arrived. Just as Nolbu had hoped, the swallow returned, carrying a gourd seed in its beak. Delighted, Nolbu planted it in his yard. The vines grew quickly, and large tempting gourds appeared. As soon as they ripened, Nobu hurried to split one open. But instead of treasure, terrible things came out. Huge goblins leapt out, running wild through the house and stealing everything. Snakes and insects poured out too, turning Nobu's home into chaos. Terrified, Nobu ran out of the house. What was gained through greed and deceit had turned into punishment. In the end, Nobu lost everything and became a laughingstock in the village. But Hengbu, now living comfortably, did not keep his fortune to himself. He shared his grain with the poor, gave food and clothes to those in need, and opened his warm home to shivering children in the winter. Even his brother Nolbu, who had lost everything and had nowhere to go, was welcomed and helped. Moved by Hengbu's kindness, Nolbu realized his mistakes and vowed never to be greedy again. From then on, the two brothers lived together in harmony. Laughter filled their homes every day. The villagers rejoiced to see the brothers united, and peace and prosperity spread throughout the village. This story has been passed down to this day, teaching us that when we let go of greed and help one another, we can all live happily, smiling together. That's all for today's story. You've been listening to DJ Time Machine. See you next time.